This is the early edition, a curated weekday guide to major news and developments over the past 24 hours, curated by Veronica Galka and Elizabeth Jennings, and read by an automated voice. Published October 15, 2025 on Just Security, an essential resource for those shaping a just and secure world. Here's today's news. Israel-Hamas war, ceasefire and hostages, and prisoner release. The defense establishment clarifies that, contrary to reports, the Rafah crossing did not open today, an Israeli security official told ABC News. Preparations are ongoing for its opening for the exit and entry of Palestinians in Gaza only. Another security official told the BBC that humanitarian aid will not pass through the Rafah crossing, as no such agreement has been reached at any stage. Aid is entering Gaza through other crossings, such as the Kerem Shalom crossing. Yesterday, Israeli officials suggested that the Rafah crossing was staying closed due to Hamas's failure to hand over more bodies of the hostages. ABC News reports, BBC News reports, Mayan Lubel reports for Reuters. The International Committee of the Red Cross yesterday said that it may take considerable time to hand over remains of the dead Israeli hostages still in Gaza, calling it a massive challenge given the difficulties of finding bodies under the rubble. The search for human remains is obviously an even bigger challenge than having the people alive being released, an ICRC spokesperson said. Emma Farge reports for Reuters. 4 more bodies were returned to Israel late last night by Hamas. The Israeli military said that the National Institute of Forensic Medicine has identified 3 of the bodies as Israeli hostages, but has concluded that one of the bodies is not an Israeli hostage. Hamas is expected to return more remains today, according to an Israeli source. 21 bodies remain in Gaza at the time of writing. Dava Lee and Lauren Kent report for CNN. Melanie Lidman and Sami Magdi report for AP News. Israel yesterday returned the remains of 45 unidentified deceased Palestinians to Gaza. Director of Hospitals at the Ministry of Health in Gaza, Dr. Mohammed Zakut, said that a team of specialists has been formed to identify the 45 bodies. BBC News reports. Israel-Hamas political response. U.S. President Donald Trump said yesterday that if Hamas don't disarm, we will disarm them, and it will happen quickly and perhaps violently. Trump added that this had been communicated to Hamas through intermediaries and that Hamas had agreed to disarm as per his 20-point peace proposal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that all hell breaks loose if Hamas does not disarm. Steve Holland reports for Reuters, BBC News reports. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia's Federal Security Service intelligence service yesterday announced a broad terrorism investigation into nearly 24 anti-war Russians, accusing the Russian Anti-War Committee group of plotting to overthrow the government. Natalia Vasilyeva reports for the New York Times. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday revoked the Ukrainian citizenship of the Odessa mayor, Hennady Trukhanov, on the ground that Trukhanov was a citizen of Russia, Ukraine's security services said. The move effectively pushes Trukhanov out of office and marks the most significant escalation yet in a feud between the national authorities in Kyiv and opposition local leaders across Ukraine. Trukhanov denied holding Russian citizenship and said he would appeal the decision before Ukraine's Supreme Court. Constant Mahut reports for the New York Times. Russian drones hit a UN humanitarian convoy that was delivering aid to a frontline area in southern Ukraine, according to the UN's Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ukraine. The OCHA said that 2 World Food Program trucks were damaged, but that nobody was injured. Reuters reports. Other global developments. The Madagascan parliament yesterday voted to impeach President Andry Rajoelina. We are taking power, Colonel Michael Randrianirina, leader of an elite Madagascan military unit, told reporters outside of the presidential palace. Madagascar's senior court has invited Randrianarina to serve as the country's new president. Nkolan Shangas, Brian Inganga, Sarah Tetad, and Gerald Imre report for AP News. Reuters reports. Syria's former Assad regime carried out a secret operation from 2019 to 2021 to move thousands of bodies from one of Syria's largest mass graves in Kutafia to a remote location in the desert, a Reuters investigation found. A witness said that the purpose of Operation Move Earth was to cover up the Assad government's crimes and help restore its image. Maggie Michael, Farah Dalati, Ryan McNeil, and Khalil Ashawi report. International Criminal Court appeal judges on October 2nd disqualified Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan from the case against former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte due to a possible conflict of interest, according to a decision seen by Reuters. The judges granted the defense request to disqualify Khan on the basis that his representation of the chair of Philippines Human Rights Commission in naming Duterte as a suspect meant that he could not conduct an impartial investigation. Stephanie Vandenberg and Anthony Deutsch report. U.S. immigration developments. The State Department announced yesterday that it has revoked the visas of at least 6 individuals for their comments on the death of Charlie Kirk. The United States has no obligation to host foreigners who wish death on Americans, the department said. In a post shared by the agency, a person identified as an Argentinian national said, Kirk devoted his entire life to spreading racist, xenophobic, misogynistic rhetoric. Victoria Albert reports for the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration has revoked the visas of at least 50 Mexican politicians and government officials amid a crackdown on drug cartels and their suspected political allies, 2 Mexican officials told Reuters. According to 3 former U.S. ambassadors, previous administrations have revoked visas in this way, but not to the same extent, adding that it shows Trump's willingness to use this tool to achieve policy goals. Only 4 individuals have publicly confirmed they lost their visas. Diego Ore, Emily Green, and Stephen Eisenhammer report. ICE agents have transferred around 20 people to the holding site for detainees awaiting deportation in the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay, a Defense Department official said yesterday. Prior to this move, the holding site had been empty since October 1st for unknown reasons. Carol Rosenberg reports for New York Times. Democracy Hub, a rights group in Ghana, yesterday filed a lawsuit against Ghana's government. The lawsuit alleges that the agreement between Washington and Accra for Ghana to accept people deported from the United States is unconstitutional as it was not approved by the Ghanaian parliament. Oliver Barker Vormawor, a lawyer and member of Democracy Hub, said that 14 West African nationals arrived in Ghana on Monday, bringing the total numbers of deportees from the United States to 42. Edward Aqua reports for AP News. Los Angeles County officials yesterday voted to declare a state of emergency that gives them power to provide assistance for residents that have suffered financially from ongoing ICE raids. Funds for rent will be available to people within the next 2 months, LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath's office said. The state of emergency also allows for the dispersal of money for legal aid and other services. Christopher Weber and Jamie Ding report for AP News. Tech developments. The Justice Department said yesterday that Meta had agreed to take down a Facebook page that the DOJ claimed was being used to harass ICE agents in Chicago. A Meta spokesperson said that they had removed the page for violating our policies against coordinated harm. Neither Meta or DOJ provided more information. James Oliphant reports for Reuters. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said yesterday that ChatGPT will allow a wider range of content, including erotica for verified adults, now that OpenAI has been able to mitigate the serious mental health issues. Altman said that OpenAI plans to allow ChatGPT to have more personality and to fulfill previously blocked requests. Ina Fried reports for Axios. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, is circulating a draft bill called the Guidelines for User Verification and Responsible Dialogue GUARD Act that would ban AI companions for minors, according to a document seen by Axios. The bill would also prescribe that AI companions tell users that they are not human. Ashley Gold reports. U.S. Foreign Affairs. Trump announced yesterday that a U.S. military strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat off the coast of Venezuela has killed 6 people. Trump said that U.S. intelligence had confirmed the vessel was trafficking drugs. He did not provide further details about the strike's evidential basis. So far, the United States has reported killing a total of at least 27 people in 5 strikes. Shelby Holliday, Joseph de Avila, and Jose de Cordoba report for the Wall Street Journal. Trump also said yesterday that the planned $20 billion bailout for Argentina is contingent upon Argentinian President Javier Milei winning in the legislative elections on October 26. If he loses, we are not going to be generous with Argentina, Trump told reporters ahead of his meeting with Milei at the White House. Zolan Cano-Youngs and Alan Rappaport report for the New York Times. U.S. domestic developments. House Judiciary Committee Republicans yesterday summoned Jack Smith, the former special counsel who twice indicted Trump, to testify about his alleged partisan and politically motivated prosecutions. The idea that politics played a role in who worked on that case or who got chosen is ludicrous, Smith said in an interview that was released yesterday. In reference to current DOJ practices, Smith said nothing like what we see now has ever gone on. Annie Carney and Glenn Thrush report for the New York Times. Trump administration actions. At least 30 news organizations, including Fox News, ABC, CBS, and NBC, declined to sign the Defense Department's new press policy yesterday. In a joint statement, several news networks said today, "We join virtually every other news organization in declining to agree to the Pentagon's policy, which would restrict journalists' ability to keep the nation informed of important national security issues." As of Tuesday's 5 p.m. deadline to sign, only One America News said it would sign the policy. Andrew Goudsward and Helen Koster report for Reuters. Scott Nover reports for The Washington Post. DOJ prosecutors do not believe that there is sufficient evidence stemming from an investigation seeking to discredit a previous FBI inquiry into Russia's attempt to sway the 2016 U.S. election in Trump's favor to bring criminal charges, according to sources. The sources said that the previous U.S. attorney for the Western District of Virginia, Todd Gilbert, was forced to resign in August because he refused to sideline a prosecutor who said that the evidence for this case was flimsy. Devlin Barrett and Michael S. Schmidt report for the New York Times. Around 466 employees at the Education Department have been fired since last Friday, according to the White House Office of Management and Budget. These layoffs target about 1/5 of the remaining workers in the department. The dismissal notices were sent to Education Department staff via their official emails, which workers have been warned would be illegal to check during the government shutdown. The Trump administration said in recent days that workers could check their emails to see if they had been fired. Sarah Mervosh, Michael C. Bender, and Dana Goldstein report for the New York Times. The Trump administration has dismissed 4,108 employees since October 1st, according to a statement filed yesterday in court by the Justice Department. Last week, the DOJ had estimated that the figure was 4,278. Daniel Wiesner and Courtney Rosen reports for Reuters. Trump said yesterday that he will announce on Friday a new list of Democratic programs that the government should cut if the government shutdown continues. The shutdown opens a window to cancel the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist programs, Trump said. Ben Johansson reports for Politico. Trump administration litigation. A federal judge yesterday ruled that the Homeland Security Department had violated a previous court order by imposing new immigration-related conditions that states must accept before receiving grant funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The judge said that the defended condition is not a good faith effort to comply with the original order. Nate Raymond reports for Reuters. Former FBI Director James Comey will file a lawsuit on October 20th challenging the legality of Trump's appointment of his personal attorney, Lindsay Halligan, as U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, according to Comey's attorneys. Josephine Walker reports for Axios. Thank you for listening to Just Security's early edition today, October 15th, 2025. If you enjoy listening, Just Security's analytic articles are also available in audio form on the justsecurity.org website. To stay up to date on Just Security's analysis of law, policy, and current events, go to justsecurity.org, subscribe to Just Security on Substack, and follow us on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Facebook, and Threads.